Hi and welcome back, my lovely little elves. In this week's video I'm gonna be making a waistcoat and some pants out of some linen for the summer. It's gonna be a set that I've seen quite a few times around Pinterest, and specifically I was inspired by this picture. And yeah, for the pattern for the top I actually used this waistcoat that my sister already had. And I basically just used the back side with the darts and this little thing, and for the front I basically just copied the pattern of this thing because I wanted the seam to go like this, and then I just made a little mock-up kind of. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so here is the mock-up. I actually made it big enough, and then I just took in all of the seams, the amount that I thought was necessary. This little triangle in the front I didn't cut out yet. I will do that later. These are the back darts, and I also actually needed a dart at the neckline, which I added as well. This is what my pattern pieces look like. The back is cut on the fold. I cut out 2 pieces of each because I wanted to use it for the lining as well. You can obviously use a lining fabric, but I wasn't going to do any top stitching, and I thought it would look best if I used the same fabric for the lining and the shell. You can also see that I leave a lot of space at the bottom just to make it long enough, and then I can cut it off later. The first thing I sewed were these 2 little tabs, or what are these? Like the ties. And I made sure to cut the corners and then flip them inside out. And I also had this like belt loop thingy, but I ended up using a different one that I had to order. The next thing I'm doing is pinning the back darts, and what I'm also doing is putting in these little ties, and I'm just sandwiching in between the darts, and I make sure to sew over those while sewing the darts. This is what it looked like ironed down, nice and secure. Next up, I am sewing together the sides and the front. And after doing that and pressing the seams open, I am placing the back side on top of the 2 fronts, matching up the shoulder seams, and I am just gonna sew down the shoulder seams. And then, after having done that twice, I place the lining and the shell on top of each other, right sides facing. And I will be sewing along the neckline and along the armholes. Not the front, the center front, just the neckline. After doing that, I'm cutting slits into all of the curved parts. And I am going to flip the front sides through the shoulder strap part onto the back side, so everything is facing right side out. This is a little fiddly, but it worked pretty good. The next step I did was sewing down the side seams, and I did that by opening both of these up and making sure the right sides are facing, and then I just sewed all along the lining and the shell. This is what it looked like after. I always try this on between like every step, so just to make sure everything still fits. This time I marked the length that I wanted and I cut that off. And then I wanted to sew the center front, so I tried it on and made sure to see how much overlap I will need. This obviously depends on what kind of buttons you use as well. And I also forgot to put interfacing, so I'm doing that right now. You should probably do that sooner, but it still works. I just put the interfacing where the buttons and the buttonholes would be going. After that, I flipped the center front together right sides and made sure I sewed all the way down to the bottom. At this point, the bottom is still open, so I can access everything. I am cutting off the seam allowance, making sure to clip the corners, and I am flipping it inside out. Now I am trying it on and I'm pinning it where the buttons will go, and I'm trying it on to see the little triangle that I want, like at the belly button. So I just kind of like fold it over and make sure I pin it. And then I mark it down with some pencil, make sure to copy it onto the other side so both sides are even. And then I just sew over it. It's not too bad if you sew over the interfacing, doesn't matter. And I make sure to cut off the excess and the corner, so it will be a nice and sharp corner. And this is what that looked like. I actually sewed both of the darts in the back onto each other, so I sewed the lining fabric to the shell, so that when I pulled on the little ties in the back, not just the outside would be pulled, but both layers. And I ordered some D-rings and these other rings, but I decided to go for the D-rings because they're a little more dainty and a little more cute. So I just sewed those on like so. I actually sewed the entire bottom by hand with a blind stitch or a blanket stitch, just so everything would be seamless, and I wasn't using any top stitching anywhere else, so that's just what I decided to do. I also covered 4 buttons, like so. It was kind of frustrating because it didn't work very well, but I think this depends on your fabric. And after that, I just had to make some buttonholes and sew on all of the beautiful buttons. For the pants, I used a pattern that I already had that was like super wide-legged, and for a elastic waistband, I cut out some pockets as well. This was my first time making pockets and it went really well. So what you're gonna do for the pockets is actually sew together the crotch seam of both the back and the front together separate. And then I grab my pocket, there is this angled line, and I match this angled line up to the side of the pants. And I sew that down. And this is what it looks like. And I'm gonna put a understitching right onto the pocket side of the pocket. And that's what that looks like. And I also iron it again. And then I flip the pocket towards the inside of the pants. And I flip the entire pants as well. And then I fold the pocket in half. And I am now pinning the top of the pocket to the top of the pants. So 3 layers. And I'm also pinning close the bottom of the pocket, so 2 layers. And then I'm pinning the sides of the pocket to the sides of the pants, again 3 layers. And here are my front pants and my back pants, and I lay them on top of each other, matching up the crotch and the inner leg seam and also the sides of the pants. I also made some belt loops, and I'm actually gonna place these onto the pants, pinning it so I can sandwich it later. I put 1 in the center back and 2 again in the back and 2 in the front. I'm also sewing those down so the pins won't be in the way. And then I'm sandwiching all of it together with the waistband, making sure to leave a gap in the back so I can thread my elastic through the waistband later. I used this elastic, but I also had to get another one because it wasn't strong enough. So yeah, and the belt loops are still hanging out. That's fine. After sewing together the gap in the waistband and the pants, I proceeded to sew down 2 lines of just straight stitch. I pulled the elastic and sewed down a straight stitch all along the waistband to make the elastic not twist. And then I also proceeded to sew down the belt loops by hand on the inside of the pants. Okay, hi. So I just got ready to take pictures but I wanted to talk about it a little bit because there's some things that I learned that are not quite right, and maybe you see it in the after shots and you're like, oh, that doesn't look right, and does she think that looks good? I don't know. I think it's fine. Overall, I'm very, very happy actually. And yeah, so the first thing is the top here is a little gaping. I actually fixed that the first time I made it, where I had to take off all the things again, and I just made these shorter right here. And I don't think I could have taken out any more because that wouldn't be very comfortable here. I would have had to cut more, I guess. I'm also, it gapes a little bit. I don't think it's too bad. But you know, I'm short and people can look from above. I don't know. Also, this seam, it doesn't sit quite on the shoulder. I don't really know. You know, I'm not a seamstress. I don't know how to do that. I think it's fine. It's more loose than what I usually do, and I think that's actually a good change of pace. And this thing in the back here, you can tell, I think this is a little bit too long. But I'm not gonna change that now, so it's just gonna like flop around a little bit. You know, might be cute. Now for the pants, I actually had to undo the entire pockets again. I did them in the same way. I just replaced this part of the pocket. So I actually made them another fabric. I didn't have any white or pink fabric, so I used this blue fabric that we still had at home, which was really, really old and from my grandma. So kind of feels nice, and it's very thin. So if you're gonna make pockets with linen pants, either your linen has to be really thin, but then you know it will be see-through. So I recommend just using a very thin cotton or something like that for your pockets. And the other thing is this belt here. I don't know if you can see, but I made this later on. I think it came out good, but I think maybe I should have put interfacing into the belt. It seems, I don't know. I don't really want to put so much interfacing into a belt, but here right at the, let me put that down. Right at the D-rings, it kind of like crumples and it doesn't want to sit nicely at all. So that's a little bit of an issue, I don't know. The rest seems fine. And also I have some blue marks left from my pencil, but I hope those go out really. Yeah, but overall, I'm also gonna wear them with pants. They're like literally floor length, so I'm gonna wear them with pants. No, I'm gonna wear them with shoes. And you can see how long I made them. I like floor length. Wow, why am I out of bed? I like floor length pants because I'm short, and like higher pants just look really dumb on me. I don't know. But anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, leave a like, a comment, whatever you want. Follow me on Instagram and let's see the reveal shots. Bye!